Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Nibbles series. Today we're going to be talking about jumping, a very common issue. We're going to be starting with why, and then you're going to be getting a few suggestions on how to deal with it. Let's start with why. Why do dogs jump? Well, it could be for a variety of reasons. One of the possibilities is that our face conveys a lot of information, so it's only natural that the dog wants to interact with us at face level. Another possibility is that the dog has a reinforcement history for jumping up. In other words, when he jumps up, he gets attention. Some people might provide positive attention, like petting and stroking, and other people might provide negative attention, like saying, "Don't do that, don't jump," and pushing the dog down. But that is still attention, so the problem with most dogs will still be there. The dog could also be excited after a long time without seeing you when you arrive home. Another possibility is that the dog is fully loaded with energy after a day without a lot of activity. And I'd like to take a moment here to mention that dogs that live most of their lives in the backyard, away from human contact, will have a higher tendency to jump. Let me give you 4 options to deal with jumping. Option number 1 has to do with the fact that we have a tendency to ignore good behavior and to pay attention to bad behavior. In other words, many times the dog is just sitting or laying down or keeping the 4 paws on the floor, and we totally ignore the dog. And then when the dog jumps up, that's when we pay attention to the dog. Let's change that around. Let's pay attention to them when they are keeping the 4 paws on the floor. The second option is actually the one that I tend to use more. That option is using DRI. DRI stands for Differential Reinforcement of Incompatible Behavior. What that means is that we're going to teach the dog something that is physically incompatible with jumping. I tend to use a sit behavior as the default way that the dog uses to greet a person. What we do in this approach is to use something the dog wants. It could be a toy, food, attention, affection, to get the dog to sit instead of jump when he greets a person. I have another video in which I do a practical example with a dog that has a high tendency to jump using this very same approach. So make sure that you check that video. Click thumbs up for this video, share it with your friends, like me on Facebook, facebook.com/trainmeplease, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. The third option is to use an approach in which when the dog jumps, you become extremely boring. So look somewhere else, pretend that nothing is happening, and be very, very boring while the dog is jumping. When the dog is not jumping, then you shouldn't be boring. Then you should address the dog, talk to him, and let him know that he's a good boy. The fourth option is to remove yourself from the situation whenever the dog is jumping. So if you're walking inside the house and he jumps up, you can go back outside again and close the door. Another variation of this approach is to use a leash. You can let the dog approach a person. If it doesn't jump up, you allow him to be with the person. If it jumps up, you remove him from the situation. Give him a little time and then come back and see if he behaves a little bit better. Some of these suggestions might work better with one dog, and some of them might work better with a different dog. Some dogs might benefit from having more than one of these ideas applied at the same time. And that brings us to the end of this video. I hope it has been useful. I'll see you in the next one.